Hockey Nation fans, welcome back to the Hockey Nation Live show with Coach Frenchy and the booth. And we have to go all the way to the West Coast, California, to find our co-host, Michael Devellano.
Morning, Pierre.
Happy Wednesday. And are you ready for Thanksgiving?
I guess as ready as anybody will be.
I know. We have to be ready with whatever is going on. We have to do it. Hopefully we don't be over 6 people.
Oh, I'm gonna have 14.
If you are a Washington State, they said not more than 6 people. What I heard yesterday.
Please come into my home and get shot.
Did you hear like you can go to the jail or something like that?
Oh, that's not surprising. That's the most communist state in the whole country.
That's crazy right now.
It's pathetic. We gotta fight back. We gotta dismantle these guys. But they just reelected that idiot governor, so they deserve it.
That's something you have to figure out. Yeah, exactly.
They're never gonna figure it out.
We have a couple of news around the league and NHL. We have fun things going on. Let's start with the sad news happening yesterday in the NHL. The passed away of one of the long time. Let me find it for you. Try to get it for you. Oh my God, I got it. The indigenous NHL pioneer Frank Camus at age of 86 years old yesterday got the COVID a couple of days ago. That was 19, and he passed away yesterday. If you don't know a little bit the story of Frank, the Fred is playing in NHL with the Blackhawks Chicago during the middle of 1950s, and the fact he was from Saskatchewan. I don't know if you know a little bit about him, but he was a pioneer for those Indian people, like Stewart and all the kind of those
for sure.
Do you know Carey Price? He has something with his mom, right?
Yeah, he's part native. Yeah.
Yeah. So
wasn't he? So when Carey Price was like 12, I think his native band paid for him to play somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know, my daughter's half native. She's Potawatomi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she's from a band that has. They're part of the Jay Treaty. So that you go back to 14. Can't remember the year, but they had part of that Jay Treaty between North America and the natives, and they have a band up in Perry Sound on Georgian Bay, and then there's a big one in Kansas City or Kansas State.
Oh wow! Talk about news around the league. We have one. I don't know if you follow a little bit the women's side, but the NWHL, they're going to start and play January 23rd until wrap up the February 5th, and Lake Placid, New York, as like the Isobel Cup playoff. And there will be like on the bubble side, like the NHL start that did, and it's going to be in January 23rd to February 5th. 6 teams going to be a part of that. On that one, the Boston Pride, the Buffalo Boats. I don't know, Boat.
What are they?
The Metropolitan River Turks and the Minnesota Wildcats and the expansion teams called the Toronto Six.
Wow.
Going to be a part of that part of there, and no fans going to be a part and inside the attendance at the Herb Brooks Arena. And then the Yale Pathology Labs will provide regular COVID-19 testing with the league protocol established by the WHL, partner at the NYW Langone Health. So pretty good. Like we know the struggle they got the last. Maybe
they've really struggled it's not fan supported for sure, and there's no TV, so it always made sense. Like Kim Pegula, I know, has done a lot from Buffalo to try to help out and run that effectively. I think the answer actually comes from COVID. Like I've it's funny because I always felt that this should be a tournament league. Make it an event-driven league and make it so that it's the bubble is the right thing to try for it, and then give them. There's so many channels out there, Pierre. I mean, give them time on TV somewhere. The NHL Network could use programming.
Yep.
ESPN could use programming.
You're right. You're right about that. It reminds me a little bit of what the WB, what's it called? The NBA. Yeah. A little bit, you know what I mean? Like, it's all about the
league and
yeah. So ESPN follow them, you know what I mean?
I mean, okay fan support in the WNBA. But the biggest thing is they get support of the NBA.
Yeah.
That league without the NBA does not exist. And that's what needs to happen. If you're concerned about trying to grow the sport for women, girls play. I've coached women's hockey.
Yeah.
I don't know if they liked me, but I coach women's hockey and I support it. I think it's a great thing,
No, I agree with you. You know what I mean? We have a podcast try to promote the hockey women and the hockey, around the world and to bring more. And, for many, many years, they have only the women USA in Canada.
Yeah.
It was completely, beat everybody by 16, 20, but you can see a couple more countries now. You're going to
not bad.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Sweden's not bad. And Sweden had that one goalie that kind of struck lightning, so to speak. And then Russia's got some women. I think it's just grow the game. Like, we don't care what color you are or what gender you are. It's like, just play.
I agree. A couple of news, but before we know we have a short daily show today. Right. We have to talk about a little bit about Samuel Morin. A couple of days ago we go preview the Philadelphia Flyers, and you said he struggled everything like that. The last couple of months he got his second surgery about the ACL, and now he's thinking to quit hockey and then finally come back on his decision. He's going to be playing the AHL for the upcoming season. He's thinking about from the Alain Vigneault to keep him in the game. It mentioned to him to play maybe 40, 60 games. That will bring him back on his healthy side, and maybe thinking more for the 2021, 2022 in ace case for him. So
he's going to try to play again?
He will try to play again on the AHL.
You hope he had potential to be, an NHL player, and that's what you want. You want that guy to be able to play. And so he's played for Team Canada. Like, you got to hope that he pulls through on it.
Yep. Another news around the league is Jesperi Kokanimi end of this term with the Finland team over there is coming back at home. A lot of players coming back now because they are expecting the team's going to be back on the training camp the next couple of days, maybe weeks. And coming back in Canada and USA, they cannot do anything for 14 days quarantine. So the player like him, I maybe expect Joe Thornton maybe back in the next 7-10 days. I expect for him to get back here. And you're going to see a couple of players. They are already in the NHL, not that like the AHL or those kind of players, but the top of they are bad. The Kokanemi case is just he came back over there because he didn't play a lot of games last season because injuries and played a level. And also that league where you play was not like a top-notch league compared. It was one of the top best players over there. So for them, they expect more him to be back and helping. Many players now are back on the ice on fun level around the Florida Panthers, for example. They are skating every morning from 9 to 11, and they have some private place like, we talk about Matthews and McDavid a couple of days ago. They are skating in Arizona. So many players are back on the ice right now. So I think that's the situation with Kokanemi to go back in Montreal and skating with the boys, his teammates. And obviously, we know that you have an agreement. The team cannot have any coach with the players until they officially open the training camp, right?
I guess, it's weird. But
that's the agreement they have. Their own coach cannot train their own player.
They'll have like a skills coach or another player. Like older players a lot. It's nice because you actually get to see some older guys come back and help out.
And then finally, talking about Montreal, we talk a lot of discussion around the, it's from website, it's from radio show in Canada about the fact, like, the Devellano and his contract is going to become a UFA in the following year, and the people, don't take a lot in Canada to start a story. So Devellano wants to appear and is playing without contract extension, not be worried. 2 years ago, it was the case. So 3 years ago, you have only 25 points during that year because of the contract situation. So you want to say, you know what, it's not going to bother me this year. It's not going to disturb me. It's going to happen at the point when it'll be ready happening. I think, $5 million should be all right for him. A 5-6 year, that'd be great. He's first of all, he's a French Canadian, played with
Dano. You think we'll get $5 million?
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see what he gets. I don't think people realize how good he is at being, he's like in that Ryan O'Reilly, Bergeron area where he gets underappreciated because he does everything very well. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, does a player like that get $5 million? I remember
they have the chance to talk with Eric Bélanger.
Yeah.
Ex-NHL players. His son play here in Florida, hockey, between that. He's coach around here. So anyway, we have a chance to talk to him yesterday. And they was talking about Philippe Daniel in Montreal a lot. And we talked about this. He said, I won't give him more at $6 million, first of all. Secondly, $5 million would be the max. You know what he told me? What I was impressive. I did not think about this way. What's the most goal he make in the NHL one season?
Who, Dano is like 18?
13.
13, right? That's why I say, like, I think $5 million might be high for him, but we'll find out. Like, I don't think 6 is realistic. But he's not, that's the difference. You look at Ryan O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly has a multiple 28 goal seasons, leads up to eventually gets 65, 75 points. And I don't know if it's opportunity or ability with Dano, but either way, that's going to affect your contract. So when I hear 5, it sounds big to me, but it wouldn't surprise me to get 4.8 to 5.
So he has never been over one season 53 points. So you have 40, 25, 53, 47. You have 13, 8, 12, 13 goals per year. My point to you is
third line center, Pierre.
Again?
That's a third line center.
Yeah, exactly. So because you play Montreal, because Montreal didn't have a great center like Malcolm Crosby or O'Reilly or Couturier or Pierre-Luc Dubois, right? The level that, so he become what he's wearing he's
overrated like everybody.
He's on the wrong chair. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Well, he plays third line a lot, and he's shown he can play top line minutes. I guess, and he was complaining about that in the playoffs. It's like, well, I'm a second or a first line player. I'm not a third line player. Why are you matching me up against the other team's top player? But that's because, like, he's a great two-way player and he wins faceoffs and he gets some points. So is that $5 million?
I think at that moment, $5 million is good for him. That would be good. I don't think so more at this part. For me, I'm honest with you.
Could you sign him at $5 million times 5 years and trade him?
No, but what happening is he become your best player. He's so good on the community. He's so good. He's a French Canadian. He loves Montreal. His family's from Victoria. He has kids play hockey over there. He can go all the way over there and say, you know what? I can accept $5 million.
That's what they said about Subban. At $5 million, would someone take that contract?
You don't need to anybody. He's only 20.
No, the point is, the value, is he worth $5 million? Because
definitely, yes.
Who would take him at $5-6 million?
Nobody else. But Montreal needs.
He's not worth it.
Who can pick up the face-off?
Doesn't matter.
But no, I'm giving you why he deserves $5 million.
You can get guys like that for $2 million.
Nobody. Who?
Absolutely.
Who?
Nate Thompson is the $1 million player that wins as many faceoffs as
Nate Thompson can play first line with Gallagher.
That's not the point.
Yes, that's the point.
You said faceoffs.
I'm sorry again.
Well, you could get a guy to win faceoffs for $1 million.
But no, my point to you is like what he brings to the Montreal, what his role. So he's a first point. He bring offensively. He bring a lot of pass. He bring a lot. He's maybe one of the top 5, maybe 8, worst case 10 best PK player in any.
You can never trade that contract.
I'm saying
you can never trade that contract.
We don't need to trade him.
Then why do you need to sign him for $5 million if nobody wants him at $5 million?
That's because he deserves the $5 million for Montreal.
Well, he deserves if he can trade it.
But he can be at place like him. He can like.
I like him. Don't get me wrong, I like him. But I think to determine the value, I think emotional decisions in Montreal happen too often.
But is
you overvalue that guy.
So who's going to get his place? Who is going to take his place?
Oh, absolutely. Like you have 2 centers that are better than him in Kotkaniemi and Suzuki. You should
really believe Kotkaniemi can play top line right now?
Well, you better believe it, because if he can't now, he never can.
He's not ready yet. He's still 19.
Well, he's never going to be ready then, Pierre. Because
he's only 19 years old.
What? How old is he?
20.
He's 20, and he's done. What you see is what you get with Kotkaniemi.
He's going to become a 60 point per year, possibly a 70 at some point. The kid have a lot of skill, talent. He's 5 times better to Dano on skill wise.
That's my point. He's your number 1 center or Suzuki.
But
not
he's too young yet. He's still too young.
Play him. We have a young league. He's ready to go. He's not going to get better. Kotkaniemi is what he is. He's peaked.
You're going to see Kotkaniemi changing. You can see the playoff right now. He's going to be better what he did. First year, he have a sophomore year last season, like in many places.
Do you remember when Galchenyuk scored 30 goals, Pierre?
What?
Do you remember when Galchenyuk scored 30 goals?
Yeah, but you don't compare Galchenyuk with the Galchenyuk. It was the
third overall draft picks. What's the difference?
Galchenyuk was always sit in the front row at the bar on the Peel Street every night with his sister. So
Kotkaniemi is going to be Galchenyuk 2.0.
So Kotkaniemi is not the same kind of person like Galchenyuk.
They're both horrible people.
Not Kotkaniemi.
There's so much. It's so much bullshit in Montreal. Why don't you guys actually get some talent?
They have a lot right now. Check what happened next year. We have to go 9 minutes to go with Toronto.
I know at $5 million, you're not going to be able to afford any of that talent.
You're going to see $5 million is pretty good, but it's time to. Here we go. Today we are talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I don't know why. We should have just skipped them. Well, it is an intriguing story. Once again, they have an absolutely garbage playoff with different personnel. We know they had a coup d'etat where they had a world-class coach in Mike Babcock, and once again using the media, namely Steve Simmons, and little squeaky baby players that were upset at him. They got rid of a world-class coach to bring in their AHL coach who's never coached in the NHL before. And so the jury's still out, in my opinion, but the Keith Dubas era is full in. I think Dubas is a good GM. When you evaluate the moves he's made overall, aside from signings, and I don't think Toronto's too worried about money usually because they're so rich. It's the one of the richest sports franchises, period. Their real cap would be 3 times any other team probably. Now, that being said, they have to adhere to the cap. So we know they have cap problems every year because they're going to spend to that limit. So we see some pretty aggressive moves in the offseason to try to address the grit and the experience on the team, even though they have John Tavares, who's pretty experienced. So I don't know. Let's see who they bring in. TJ Brody. I like this move. TJ Brody's a good defenseman. He's maybe
I agree with you on that one.
He's maybe a little overpaid in Toronto, but it's not dramatically. I think he can anchor it, still play the top 4. I would like him better at $4 million than $5 million. He can't get the offensive numbers he used to get, but he's still a very good defenseman, and he can skate, and he's tough. So I like that move. And some surprise moves, they bring in a guy whose name I misspelled somehow. Jimmy Vesey, I do not understand this move, but they bring in Jimmy Vesey, the great American hope. I think he's completely overrated and not the character or player they would want, but that's the move they made. Now, then they bring in some veteran guys. Wayne Simmons, I really like this move. Zach Bogosian, I like Bogosian. I thought he played very well for Tampa last year in a 5-6 role, and he'll do the same thing here for a reasonable amount of money. Then Joe Thornton. This is not the Joe Thornton of 10 years ago. However, Joe Thornton still has a high skill level. He's a big man. He wants to win. He played his junior hockey in London. He's an Ontario boy. Guys want to come home and they want to win. So I think the desire, when they said we got to get tougher, that's what they were thinking. Simmons is definitely tough. Bogosian is definitely tough. Brody is definitely tough. So those are guys that you get toughness without giving up a lot of skill. So there may be smart moves. You see, they bring in some other long shot guys that will help from a depth perspective and maybe a little better. Mikko Lehtinen, we think, can probably play a 5, 6, 7 type role and help them out. Flex between.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't mind it. So, when I start going through and I start being unemotional about it, I go, you know what? These are valuable pieces that can help a coach. If the coach knows what he's doing, you're going to get every chance in the world to deal with injuries, to deal with attrition, and battle through a long playoff. Now, you got to get there because your best players have to be your best players, so that'll still remain to be seen. But we saw in Dallas what happens when you have a veteran player like Joe Pavelski and Corey Perry, who are maybe not at their prime, but they can lead a team in those circumstances in a short period of time. So I think that's what Dubas is looking at. The only thing you can do is bring those types of assets in and hope that, your coach does the right thing and your players are in the right mindset. Dave Orofsky's got, NHL experience. He's a smaller guy, but he can play defense and a little bit of forward. Travis Boyd's had a cup of coffee in the NHL, and he's a useful guy. Dennis Malgin played in Florida, and he's reasonably skilled, and he can play regular minutes if you let him, but he's most likely not going to get that, but he's a good depth player. Joey Anderson, I like this pick. Like getting him back in the Andreas Johansson trade from New Jersey, you're giving up a lot of salary. And frankly, you get a player that is not as good as Johansson. But he could be. Like, he's a young guy and he's capable forward. We saw he can get some points. He's still young and he has a little bit of, skill and grit. They're looking at Russian guys like Barbanov, who I forgot to put on here. Korshkov, I don't know if he'll even play in the AHL or the NHL. This guy's name I can't pronounce. Kivi Halme. I think he's a defenseman. He's got some points. He could be a decent, depth defenseman. Maybe he's better, but you don't look at him as better because they got so much depth. And then they bring in Michael Hutchison to be a third goalie. We see they moved out salaries in Kapanen and Johansson. Kapanen going to Pittsburgh, apparently going to play on Sidney Crosby's line. Andreas Johansson goes to New Jersey, and he'll play a top 6 role there if you look at the depth chart.
They bring also Aaron Dell.
That's a good point. And they have another goalie. That's crazy. Wait, did they get rid of Hutchinson?
No, they go with
Aaron Dell on top of it. So that's insane.
Hutchinson came after Dell.
That's crazy when you think about it, because Dell is capable of being an NHL backup, and Hutchison actually showed in the playoffs. And you forget how many games Hutchison's played in the NHL. So they have conceivably 4 goalies that can play in the NHL.
What is really interesting, we know what Thornton, Simmons, and Bocuzia and Brody can do, right? But I like Boyd, Lehtinen, Anderson,
right,
and Malkin. Those guys going to take the place, maybe the Erval and those, Gauthier and those.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Before. They bring speed, they bring chance to score. And one kid we don't talk here is Robertson.
Well, that everybody's going to be talking about Robertson, because Robertson was a 50-goal scorer in the OHL. He stepped in as like an 18 or 19-year-old kid into the playoffs, and he looked very good. This kid's for real. He is going to be a top 6 player. How the hell they got him? This is their emphasis on skill in the draft, and it pays off. Look at the guy they got this year.
Second turn pick, right?
No, he's first. He's first.
He's first? But it was late.
He was late.
No, he's 52, 53.
Oh, he's second round then. Oh yeah, he was their first round pick.
Yeah.
First pick.
Well, yeah. You know, it's when
53rd. Wow. I
yeah,
mean, that's crazy. So that
I was talking with the manager over there.
That's crazy, man. I mean, what a great. So that again, this is why I say, I think if you look at the other players, if you look at their draft history, I think that Dubas and team have done a very good job. Like, they're good evaluators of talent. They understand the OHL. It all started with Mark Hunter, but it has not ended with Kyle Dubas. They had a lot of picks this year, and the top guy, Rodion Amirov, looks like he could be a player. Like, the guy looks really talented. You got Rasmus Sandin coming up. They grabbed Timothy Liljegren. He's taking a little bit of time, so we'll see how that pans out.
You bring a good point, Michael, here. And you know, sometimes we, you know, I love, you know, how much I love those exercises, because that gives me chance to see things we don't see. You know, I mean, you watch Tavares and Marner and everything like that.
Yeah.
About since 2011, right? 12, yeah. Markin Riley, 5 overall pick. 13, 21, Frederic Gauthier, which is not about this. He's always played 168 game. You talk about number 8 and 14, William Nylander, 300 games over there. Now we got number 4, Mitch Marner, and then you got Travis Dermott over there. Then we go back with Austin Matthews, right? So we know already what he did. But number 17, he played 11 game. I think
even Timashov has played. Like, you got guys depth. Like, Carolina grabbed Bracco. I think he can play. Grunstrom's going to play in LA. Like,
no, my point to you is you bring a great point here. They know to recruit good draft.
Absolutely.
It's a really good point here.
Unfortunately, I'm like tight for time, but I think when you boil it down, no matter what, the regular season, this team is going to score a lot. They're going to let in too many goals, but they'll still get 95 to 100 points. They definitely dropped this year. The question will be, can they, what do they do in the playoffs? I think they're too good, have too much offense and too much talent not to be in the playoffs. Like, they're going to be right at the top. But then, are they really the top? We're going to find out. When we saw they got eliminated in the playoffs, it's the same old story. So they have to turn the corner, or this could blow up.
Yep, you're right. That's the best thing you can finalize this show today. Is
Turkey Day.
What could happen next year if they don't make the playoff or they get out the first round?
Right.
I mean, there could be panic for no reason. I believe that the issue is going to be not Matthews, Nylander, or Matthews. Oh man, I missed Marner. Sorry. Look at this. Without Marner, they get 234 goals from the forwards. What? That's crazy, Pierre. Come on, this is nuts. Like, how crazy is that? Like, holy bro, they're gonna score so many goals, Pierre. It's crazy. It's a nutty situation. I mean, so now you got 30, you got 43, 56, 66, 74. Like, who does this? And then you lose, you probably got 100 here. Like, it's nuts. Like, they're going to be one of the top 2 or 3 goal scoring teams in the NHL. Anyways, unfortunately, I have to jump, but we can always revisit this later. No matter what, they're in the playoffs, and then the question is, what do they do? But they have so many depth options that if guys pull pin in the playoffs, they'll just clear them out for the next guy. So maybe it creates a lot of pressure and competition, and they get where they need to be. I don't know. It would be nice to see them get to the second or third round for a change.
Amazing.
Anyways, I apologize. I have to jump today early.
Thank you so much. Look forward to see you tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. We have Happy Thanksgiving, but we're going to be here for a short daily show tomorrow at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Have an amazing Wednesday, everybody.